You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From the Rockingham Raceway, the Racers Elite Cup Series is about to battle it out at one of our sport's eternal homes for blistering fast racing in Thunder Valley. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rockingham, North Carolina. Last week in Atlanta, Ira Kohlhaas didn't lead every lap, but he led the lap that counts most, the last lap. He battled all night long against big names like Kensley Smith and Andrew Teft and came out on top to prove that he's worthy to hold that third spot in our point standings. Kensley Smith and Brandon Zimmerman still lead our point standings, but the competition is heating up. Just 60 points separate 10th position held by Jonathan Leach from our points leader. I'm Dave Riegel alongside my esteemed partner, Mr. Daniel Paulus Jr., here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and we'd like to thank you for making SRM a part of your evening, as we'll be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media, and already right out of the gate, it appears that we have a technical difficulty, as I can see that iRacing has frozen for me during qualifying, so why not? Let's have something goofy happen. As Daniel, here we are.
Yeah, we're here at Rockingham Speedway, an exciting event going on here tonight. You know, Rockingham Speedway is it's a mystery sort of kind of track, Dave. You know, you don't know what's going to happen at Rockingham. It's an old surface, which means we're going to see a lot of tire wear going off on these drivers. But we also heard from these drivers before this race is going to begin. We interviewed some of these drivers, and, you know, they said that turn 4 and turn 3 is where the trouble's probably going to be for most of them tonight. And you don't want to get too close to the apron there on the inside when racing, because if you have that little apron on the inside, you're going to slide up really fast into the outside wall, lose a lot of momentum, damage your car, lose positions. It's not what you want to do here tonight from Rockingham. So you certainly just want to, you know, ease your way into this start when we get this green flag.
Yeah, as of course we're still trying to handle some technical difficulties here. This is something that we've now had twice happen since the last update, and I'm not sure what the issue is. As we get loaded back into the session, folks, you'll just have to bear with us here, as I can't explain it. It's only since this last update, so we're trying to get ourselves back up here and get this black screen off and out of the way as I'm trying to get back into the session. So do forgive me for whatever is going on here with iRacing. I really have to say I hate these people sometimes, as we are going to get a chance while this loads to take a peek here at our race information. Of course, it's going to be 120 laps tonight, and 5 tire sets and 1 fast repair, so that'll keep a lot of this competition fresh in the field. Of course, 78 degrees if you're in the stands tonight here at Rockingham, 88 degrees on the asphalt. And you know, Daniel, I talk about it all the time. It's something that I'm always very fascinated by, the amount of grip that 88 degrees can bring to the asphalt.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of loose race cars here tonight. And some of these drivers said that it's going to be the most difficult track that they've ever been to, which I could agree on that. You know, I raced here at Rockingham here and there. And let me tell you, my first time here, I was in an Xfinity car. It was okay. Not as loose as what it was in a Nextgen car in the Cup Series when I raced here. And the most trouble I had here, Dave, was probably turns 3 and 4. Like I said, because that's where your car's mostly loose. But, you know, the more this race progresses, the more grip is going to be laid onto this track. But, you know, it's always the start of the races where it's going to be very, very loose and challenging, and the handling, too, for some of these drivers.
Without a doubt. Of course, we're taking a look here at Thomas Stanley, who, as we get loaded back into the session, like I had just said, for some reason, since this last iRacing update, the sim, for whatever reason, as it's transitioning from one stage of racing to the next, whether it's from practice into qualifying and occasionally qualifying into the race itself, it just throws up all over the floor. Brandon Honeycutt here in the 13, getting ready to go out on his qualifying effort. He'll be joined by Diego Rodriguez momentarily, as we see Honeycutt rolling off of pit road. And then we'll take a look at Diego as he is now loading up here in the number 20 Yahoo Toyota Camry. And I'll tell you what, these Camrys have had a lot of power here on the racetrack in the Cup Series and different Cup Series that I've seen. So I'm excited to see how they handle tonight here at Rockingham, because, of course, Rockingham no longer on the traditional NASCAR schedule, which is why we call it an eternal racetrack, because, you know, this is something that we don't get to see anymore every year. And here we are able to come back and enjoy ourselves at a different kind of place. That's for darn sure. As where did the race info go? Once again, you'll just have to bear with me here, folks. There it is. Well, just in case it couldn't be any more of a pain in the tuchus, you know, to get around this 1 miler, I mean, there's a lot of room on here. This is not, this is definitely not like, wow. This is definitely not like Richmond, where the Rock does feel a lot different than Richmond does. It's not as tight. You know, you're not always going to be right on top of somebody, but you will be bumping and banging, as Brandon Honeycutt just goes 4th fastest after his second lap. He goes 24.68. Right now, fast time set by Brandon Zimmerman at 24.53. As Diego Rodriguez running in 13th position. Andrew Teft, chief cook and bottle washer here in the Racers Elite Cup Series, actually in Racers Elite overall. And I'll tell you what, we got it. Emily and I got a chance to watch Andrew last night in the Xfinity Series, and just what a privilege to watch some of these guys go at it.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. No matter what series they're in, no matter where they are, if it's the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, Truck Series, ARCA, you name it. But all these drivers put on great performances week in, week out. You know, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. And it gets very frustrating, Dave, as a driver. You're coming in each week, and sometimes you could be leading the white flag, and something goes wrong. So that whole race is like nothing then for you. So these drivers do get frustrated, but it's where they show their talent, and that's where it really matters. Everybody here races with respect, and it's just great that they put on these great races for us viewers to watch, because it's very entertaining. With that being said, Andrew Teft, he has been that strong driver week in, week out so far this season. Last season he had an up and down season. So far this season, he's looking pretty good. So I expect big things out of this 98 machine here. And I won't be shocked if he's up in the front later on in this race from the Rock. But like we said, you saw those cars bouncing up and down. There are bumps in this track, and that's going to extremely loosen your car when you're going down that back stretch at 170 miles per hour. Because once you go over those bumps, let me tell you, you are handling your car like no tomorrow, because once you go over those bumps, your car is shifting so much around the track. You're trying to keep that wheel perfectly straight to get as much speed as you can before letting off in the corners here. But I've seen drivers in turns 3 and 4, Dave, where, they accelerate too fast and they spin themselves right around, and they have no help behind them. It's just all on themselves. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on how these drivers accelerate going into the turns here. And you're seeing right here, the 43 of Alex Teft. Last season, very, very strong early on in the season last year. Got wins and wins and wins. And then all of a sudden had that little downslope. But now it looks like he's coming right back up.
Yeah, as we do get a quick chance to take a peek at our point standings, Kensley Smith leads the way with 216 points. Brandon Zimmerman just 13 points back from our leader, Kensley Smith. Ira Kohlhaas picks up the first win last week. Dennis Kane running in fourth right now with a win on the season. Brandon Honeycutt back in seventh position. And that's all of our winners so far. Of course, here we are this week at Rockingham, and I'll tell you what, this is a racetrack that when I was a kid, it was, we're going to the Rock. And you don't realize how important it was to our history until you see it now, as Alex Teft goes 8th fastest. Looks like we're still waiting for Alan Bergen, Sam Kohlhaas, Dakota Bly. Several drivers deciding not to go out and qualify tonight, which is an interesting decision with just a few seconds left here in qualifying, as Brandon Zimmerman going to be sitting on top of the pole. We'll see if we can get a hold of him real quick here. As there he is. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave and Daniel up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, here you are sitting atop the pile tonight, 24.53 seconds to get around this piece. What's going to be your secret here going through this race?
Trying to save my tires the best I can. I did a couple of 20-lap runs, and after about 15, 20 laps, this car would get wicked loose. So that's going to be my plan the whole night.
Yeah, I mean, Rockingham no longer on the real-life schedule anymore, so coming to the Rock is very special, of course, now that it's, it's an eternal racetrack here on iRacing. What does that mean for you, in our heritage as racers?
Man, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care what track it is. I just want to win. I'm just...
My man.
Yeah, I'm just out here just trying to show that I can be out here with the best and, get a W at any kind of track. No matter oval, road course, it don't matter.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck tonight, as you're going to be starting, of course, from the pole position alongside Truth Hoke, and maybe we'll see you on the other side, man.
I hope so. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. As that was Brandon Zimmerman, driver of the number 65 Planet Fitness Chevrolet Camaro. We're going to send him on back down here to Driving Extreme Inc. And Daniel, it's that time that I love to do here, as we're going to go through our starting lineup. Brandon Zimmerman, of course, we had just heard from him. He's going to be starting on the pole position alongside Truth Hoke in the 59 Wrangler machine. Jason Bottoms in the 57 going to be starting on the inside of row number 2, featured alongside Kensley Smith from Tarboro, North Carolina. Andrew Teft and Brandon Honeycutt in row number 3, while row 4 going to have Alex Teft and Dennis Kane side by side. Gregory Robinson and Noah Tansman in row number 5, rounding out your starting top 10, while Diego Rodriguez and Kirby Wainscott are going to be in row number 6. Row 7 featuring Dakota Bly and Ira Kohlhaas, last week's winner at Atlanta, while Alan Bergen, our teammate right here at Sim Racing Media, going to be starting alongside my favorite team. Well, okay, listen. Present company accepted. My favorite teammate on Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action, Mr. Matt Mettler, my brother from another mother, as well as Sam Kohlhaas, starting in 18th position, and shotgun on the field tonight going to be Thomas Stanley in the number 62 FedEx office machine. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, and that means only one thing, folks, as the iRacing.com pace car brings us through the turn 3 and 4 complex. We're waiting for him to make that hard left turn down pit road, as we're just waiting for it. There it is. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road. It's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab a drink on the rocks. Race fans, it's show time.
Drivers making their way down the back straightaway for the first time here at the Rock. Let's see how they can handle it going into turns 3 and 4. You've seen those cars bobble up and down, Dave. It's those nice little bumps there, and everybody's filing through nice and easy here on the first lap.
Lap number 1 in the books now, as Brandon Zimmerman, our race leader, leads Jason Bottoms and Truth Hoke. Truth Hoke was on the front row, has now moved back here into 3rd position, but looks to regain that as he looks to the inside now of Jason Bottoms is there. Fender to fender going into 3 and 4, ready to roll it out here back to the front stretch. They're side by side coming down to the line. It's still going to be Jason Bottoms in 2nd position, but they are battling hot and heavy right now as Brandon Zimmerman just laid fast time down at 24.87. Lap 3 in the... Whoa!
Oh, the 59 Truth Hoke.
It almost looked like Hoke had some kind of a hardware failure here. Not sure what brought that on. Let's see if I can run that back real quick. And I'll tell you what, I know that they can't hear you right now as we do this, and we're looking to load this replay. It was kind of an interesting situation as Truth Hoke came out of turn 2. He didn't look crazy loose, Daniel, but take a look at this.
Oh.
That rear end just stepped around and would not stop.
Oh, no. Once the rear end's going around, you're along for the ride. You can't save it.
Back to live action. Truth Hoke now all the way back to 16th position. That leaves Brandon Zimmerman atop the pile by 1.5 seconds over Jason Bottoms. Kensley Smith running in 3rd position right now with Andrew Teft in 4th, Brandon Honeycutt in 5th. And as we ride along with Brandon Honeycutt looking at the rear bumper here of Andrew Teft, we can see just how much work it's going to take him to wheel this thing through here. The car is almost tight, so he's going to be fighting that condition until either the car loosens up or he can back up that braking zone to allow the wheel to rotate.
It's hard to handle your car early on here at the Rock, but you're seeing these drivers pretty much spread out. They're taking their time, seeing what they have. And remember what when we interviewed the driver earlier, Dave, he said around 20 laps in, he got more loose. So we're gonna have to keep a close eye on how these drivers do when this run extends, even if it is a long green flag run or a caution comes out. And we're seeing a nice little battle here in front of the 13. That's the 57 Jason Bottoms and the 15 of Kensley Smith. And they're still side by side going in turn 1. You're seeing the 15 slide up the track just a little bit, has to get out of the gas. And the 57 is going to continue to take that 2nd spot.
And getting a run down the backstretch, getting ready to enter turn 3 is Kensley Smith, who now blows on by Jason Bottoms. Not sure what's causing that run to be the way that it is, but now Bottoms stuck here on the bottom, being passed. It looks like that high line is where most of these cars are able to get a good entry here and loosen the cars up rather than wind up, too tight and down below. As now Jason Bottoms is going to fall into line just ahead of Brandon Honeycutt. Don't look now, though. It looks like all of a sudden Alex Teft is going to be chasing down the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt. .10 laps in the books already as Ira Kohlhaas getting ready to dance here with Alex Teft and Brandon Honeycutt. Now we're ready to make this thing a 3-car battle for 5th, as Brandon Honeycutt holds 5th position right now. He's got Alex Teft and Ira Kohlhaas just behind him. Now Teft has about 0.2 of a second back to Kohlhaas, so he's not really going to be driving defensively there. The person who's really going to try to throw up that armor is going to be Brandon Honeycutt, as he's got a rear view mirror full,
Whoa.
wow, of Alex Teft. As we're going to go right here to the gearbox of Brandon Honeycutt and watch Teft just go at him, as he's going to be throwing haymakers at Jason Bottoms.
Watch that inside. There goes the 43 of Alex Teft to the inside. Is he going to be clear? He's not. He's still going to battle side by side.
He doesn't get it this time. It looks like he's going to try it again. He's got a really good entry, but Honeycutt is just able to roll the middle so well that he's able to hold off Teft for the time being.
There goes the 13 of Honeycutt now to the inside of 57, Jason Bottoms. 57's losing a couple positions here.
You know, and on a 1-miler like this, you know, we're not necessarily an intermediate track. We're not necessarily at a short track. But once at a racetrack like this, once you start bleeding spots, it winds up going from bleeding to hemorrhaging, as you can go, just like we saw a while ago, you know, with one driver going from second to now down a lap and running an 18th. Down 4 laps and an 18th.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Kensley Smith leading our race right now as we get that battle box out of the way, as he's up just about 1.2 seconds now, 1.25 seconds over Brandon Zimmerman, while Brandon Honeycutt is trying to get up here to the rear bumper of Andrew Teft. Andrew Teft holding him off by 0.2 of a second here in the early goings of this race. 15 laps in the books, and they go side by side down the backstretch. Watch the 98 of Teft just have to allow the 13 on by for the time being. Now, Andrew Teft is one of those drivers, as he's got Alex right behind him. Teft is one of those drivers that he's more than willing to let you go ahead and burn your equipment up. He will be back here waiting for after you melt the tires down to liquid rubber, and then, you know, put a hairnet on and serve you your lunch. As Kensley Smith just laid fast time down at 24.65.
Yeah, the field's mostly spread out now. Looks like everybody's not struggling as much, because as lap after lap goes by, Dave, these drivers are getting more acclimated to the track. But I mean, there's some drivers, like, I want to look at the 43 right now here, Dave. The 43 of Alex Teft, when he was battling with the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt, you saw that 13, like you said, roll a lot more better in that corner in turns 1 and 2, where you saw the 43 being a little more loose, and he's literally struggling handling with the wheel. And if we keep a close eye on him, let's see what he does here at the 98 of Andrew Teft. Now watch as he goes in the corner here. You see that 98, he's doing fine. He's going through the center there, but you're seeing the 43 struggle a little bit. You see him coming off the corner, just jerking that wheel a little bit, and I think that's because he's a little too loose right now.
Yeah, right now the Teft brothers going at it, hammer and tongs, as if somebody just said, I broke you, you broke my G.I. Joe, and now I'm pissed. Because I'll tell you what, all of a sudden, that opens the door for Gregory Robinson to start looking to the inside of Alex Teft. What's going on right now is Robinson's been kind of hanging out back here, biding his time, taking his time, and he's been watching the Teft brothers go at it. He's got to get himself close enough so if somebody makes a mistake, he's able to pounce on that like a lion in the desert. As Gregory Robinson has already up 4 positions after starting in 10th, now running in 6th. Our race leader still Kensley Smith up here in the 15, all by his lonesome, now 3.5 seconds ahead of Brandon Honeycutt. If we keep having a race like this, we might see him start to lap the field the old-fashioned way.
Well, you're seeing right in front of him right there, the 89 Alan Bergen. I'm sure he doesn't want to see the 15 Kensley Smith anywhere in his mirror. But I think he has a feeling that, he can see him right there.
Yeah, looking back here from SRM's very own Alan Bergen, he can start to see Kensley Smith creeping in on him, and now Kensley Smith bests his own lap record for tonight, and goes up one more hundredth of a second to 24.64 on the last lap. So that means he's only getting, it's almost like a fine wine or a good whiskey. He's getting better with age.
Here comes the 15th, Kensley Smith reeling in that 89 lap after lap. And man, Kensley Smith is on a roll. I mean, he's literally 3 seconds in front of the 13 Brandon Honeycutt. That's a pretty big gap there. And riding on board with our hometown North Carolina, Kensley Smith. And there he goes. He's going to go to the outside. Let's see how he does here. Nice brew butter.
Doors right off of that Camry.
Now let's see what he does next.
Peeking back here to Gregory Robinson in the 9. He's starting to close in now on Alex Teft as Andrew Teft has dropped back slightly. Truth Hoke just set the fast time of the race because, here's a guy who was, up there in P2 earlier on, just laid it down a 24.59. Came down on lap 1, lap 5 to get some of, whatever that rub was done on the 18. And now here he is running faster laps than our race leader, Kensley Smith. So maybe Truth deciding he's going to try to, at the very least, climb up here and try to, gain a couple of laps back, maybe counting on a couple of cautions to come out. Now here we are on lap 25. Brandon Zimmerman comes down pit road. He's on his way back off now as he's got the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt high above him. But don't look now. Gregory Robinson, Alex Teft, and Ira Kohlhaas, this little 3-car gaggle starting to close in once again as Gregory Robinson trying to close in on Alex Teft. He's 4/10 of a second behind Teft and a quarter of a second ahead of Kohlhaas.
Well, let's see, Dave. Let's see the difference between our leader of Kensley Smith and the 43 of Alex Teft. Let's first ride on board and see what the 15th Kensley Smith can see out of his mirror and listen to the throttle on how he's doing this in the corners here. Now you hear him, he's off the throttle. Perfectly rolls out of turn 4, no problem. Now let's hop over to the 43 of Alex Teft quick and ride on board of him and listen to the difference here and see if there is a difference.
Sounds like Teft is actually walking it through here as he's about quarter throttle through the center. So instead of letting it coast through the center, he's giving a quarter throttle to get that rear end to come around.
Yeah, he's just limping it around. There's the handling I was talking about, Dave. You see him jerking that wheel a little bit, and that's because he's trying not to spin that car around. And right there's the 98 of Andrew Teft going by him.
Andrew Teft working his way here all over the rear bumper of Alex. And right now, Alex Teft wants none of that, he said. He's looking back here. Let's take a better look from the bumper of Andrew Teft as we look back at Alex. And he's got a rear view mirror full of his brother as they come here into turns 1 and 2. And, just there on the high side is Jason Bottoms. And, we haven't called that name in the last few laps as he's, been falling back about 4 positions now after starting on the inside of row number 2. He's fighting a tight car as he gets up there and rubs up against the safer barrier now to drop back down just in front of Noah Tansman in the 56. So right now, Brandon Zimmerman came down on lap number 23. We're on 32 right now. So, pit strategy maybe for these lapped cars is more about getting damage repaired and some of that stuff taken care of. Alan Bergen, though, going to stay out here on the lead lap, one lap down for the time being. Matt Mettler is the next in line here to receive his lunch from Kensley Smith as Mettler looks in the rear, and we can see just how violent that transition is from turn 2 onto the backstretch.
Matt Mettler looking like he's about to go a lap down, so Everybody looks like everybody from 15th on back is either one lap or more laps down, and it looks like it's going to continue going that way if this thing runs green.
Want to welcome everybody into the youtube.com live chat. Jason Bottoms cheering on Jason himself, and of course 213 Simware cheering everyone on. And I'll tell you what, these drivers that have come into this race tonight, they are here to win. And no matter whether you're Matt Metler here in 14th or Kensley Smith who leads this piece, you still want to try to get as many points as you can, because right now point standings are points are so important here in the early goings of the season, to get yourself set up for later on in the year. I want to welcome everybody in once again to the youtube.com live chat. Let us know who you're pulling for, who you're cheering for, who we can get some camera time here. Dave Regal and Daniel Paulus in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A pair of 610 guys for you tonight. Of course, I grew up in the 610, and here I am in the 215. I did get a chance today, Daniel, and I saw the WFMZ news machine while I was away from work for a little while today.
Oh, yeah? What were they doing? Interviewing?
I don't know. They were down in Ole doing something. Who knows? They were probably reporting on like a lost goat or something. I'm still a fan of Haciel Cordoba.
Yeah.
I'm so
I miss Mark Schanenberger.
Do you know, so a couple of things about WFMZ. Of course, folks, for those who aren't from this area, WFMZ is the local news station in the Lehigh Valley around Allentown, Pennsylvania. And when I was a kid, Daniel, I was interviewed by Wendy. Now she's Wendy something.
Davis?
Is she still Wendy Davis?
Yeah.
I know she had a different, or she got married. Maybe she kept her name for TV, but I was interviewed by Wendy Davis when I was about 11 years old. It was one of those summertime, everybody's at the pool kind of stories that she was doing, and my nut ass was driving my bicycle on like a 94-degree day to the pool, and they drove past me and interviewed me like, "Hey kid, where are you going? It's like 1,000 degrees outside." I'm like, I'm just riding to the pool. Like, and instead of offering me a ride the rest of the way, they were like, "Okay, good luck, see you there."
Yeah, well, there was another guy on WFMZ. He just disappeared all of a sudden. It was Ed Hanna.
Ed Hanna was the weather guy for most of my childhood.
Yeah, whatever happened to him? He just like disappeared.
You know what? I'm gonna look it up. Ed Hanna.
Oh no, he just
in the morning he was. You have Matt Broderick up there. I don't get.
Yeah, I remember
here anymore.
I remember in the morning I would always stay tuned in WFMZ for, it was the traffic guy because he would do zany facts or something like that.
Oh, Jeff Bolden. He just retired.
I don't know who did zany facts.
That was Jeff Bolden in the traffic center, and it was Haciel Cordoba
Rick?
and Eve. Now she's Eve Russo, but she used to be Eve Tannery. Apparently, Ed Hanna now works for Maranatha Broadcasting Company, Inc. Never even heard of it.
What is it?
Maranatha Broadcasting Company.
That in PA, I'm assuming?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. It sure is.
I'm Bo Colt now. 69 News.
Bo Colt now used to work out of the Burke studio.
Mm-hmm.
Vicious cigarette smoker.
Do you watch WNEP as well, Dave? Or
I used to when I lived up in Jim Thorpe.
Okay.
When I lived up there, I caught WNEP most weekday mornings, or I was watching WBRE, WYOU, which is on the Fox 56. They were all one station up there in Scranton.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
going to an Iron Pigs game
Reading,
soon.
we had Channel 69 Burke's Edition.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to Iron Pigs in July.
Oh, well, thanks for inviting me. I'll just sit here at home and twiddle my thumbs. Matt Metler, speaking of twiddling one's thumbs, Matt Metler has all of a sudden crawled up into 10th position as he's managed to stay on the lead lap. Matt, is now in 9th position as he's still trying to run away from Kensley Smith. Right now, this is kind of like Matt's down here begging Kensley Smith, go on down pit road, get that service, put a freaking gap between the two of us.
Well, you know what the other thing is? The other thing is he's probably praying for a caution so he doesn't get a lap down.
Yeah, at this point, Mettler is out there like throwing thumbtacks and nails on the racetrack to get a debris caution because he's got a rear view mirror full of Kensley Smith. And I mean, we can even see that right here looking back. I mean, there's not too much distance between these two. And here comes Kensley Smith closing the gap ever so quickly as we go into turn number 3 here on lap number 47.
Already working our way to lap 48 here in the Nextgen series. And most of these drivers that we expected to be up front this season are doing what we thought they would do, and that is literally being up in the front. And it looks like everybody from 10th on back is a lap down now, Dave. This is insane.
It's been quite a run so far today, as right now Kensley Smith has basically led almost every lap of this race. Brandon Honeycutt running in 2nd position, Ira Kohlhaas in 3rd, Andrew Teft, Jason Bottoms, Gregory Robinson, Noah Tansman, Thomas Stanley, Matt Mettler, and Dakota Bly round out your top 10, and they are the lead lap cars, as Matt Mettler, the last car on the lead lap in 9th, trying to hold on to this. And at this point in the race, I got to figure that Matt's just trying to hold on. And to be fair, he is keeping this gap between himself and Smith. So maybe he's got a strong enough car now that it's so late in the run that he's figured out how to make this thing click as we take a peek here at the time delta. And we're just going to, I'm sorry, not the time delta, but the lap time. As we can see, Honeycutt is now getting faster than Smith by about a consistent 1/10 of a second, if not more. So as Brandon Honeycutt runs right now, lap number 50, he's a 10th faster than Kensley Smith. So Kensley Smith maybe having a little bit of a renaissance here as we take a look at Mettler, 25.672 on lap number 49. Kensley Smith, 25.626. So they are nearly matched in time, Daniel.
When we see that happen, you know, you're going to always have that gap. It's not going to close anymore. It's not going to gain anymore unless you have something that we don't know about. But I mean, so far the only drivers I've seen contention to possibly get this lead away is the 13 of Honeycutt or the 29 of Ira Kohlhaas, unless something happens to his 15. But maybe the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt, maybe he did save something up now that he's gaining, knowing that, you know what, Kensley Smith was out in the lead for most of the laps here so far. You know, maybe he used up his stuff. Now I should start using a little bit of mine and start getting this lead.
Well, we're 7 laps away this time by from the halfway point. So obviously Smith, Honeycutt, Kohlhaas, Teft, and everyone else thinks that they can make this on 2 stops. Now, these drivers who came in early, such as Brandon Zimmerman, maybe he's not going to be able to make it. He probably won't make it for sure. Kirby Wayne Scott is going to be right there as we've got a battle for the lead. Whoa, a bobble
hold it on
the
there.
13. Side by side down the backstretch go the 15 and the 13 of Smith and Honeycutt. They're exchanging blows coming out of turn 3, transitioning into 4 as they come down the front stretch. Right now, they are neck and neck, and that would have almost been too tight to call in real time as Kensley Smith fights Brandon Honeycutt fights Kensley Smith.
Oh, he's in the wall.
Whoa. All of a sudden, Ira Kohlhaas nearly having to run over Kensley Smith. That car, those tires are shot right now. I think we can confirm. So Kensley Smith may be better off coming down pit road now, even though we all know that at this point they're just trying to squeeze this thing out. And the only thing, the one person that all of that did, the one person that benefited out of all of that is Matt Mettler. Matt Mettler now gets a little bit more distance between himself and now Brandon Honeycutt, because while they were back there fighting it out, Mettler was able to start running away and putting distance between himself and the leaders as Mettler now runs in 8th position.
Good news for Mettler, but the only way he's going to be able to gain positions is if a caution comes out and we restart. But oh my goodness, look at the 13.
The 13 now starting to get ready to put Metler down that lap, as he's had
Holy
enough
moly.
of us talking about him holding them off. And I think your thought process was right. Oh, maybe, yeah, there you go. Alan Bergen checking up in front of the 13, holding up the leaders as that keeps up. Now he's got, whoa!
Oh, Alan.
Oh, Alan is right. My God. He nearly
Watch it. Keep it down there. Keep it down there.
Honeycutt wants to get the hell away from all of this mess. Alan is trying desperately not to cause a mess, as he is all over the racetrack. He can't seem to pick a line. I think you have to open both eyes to drive, Alan. As Alan's got the 29 now, looking to the inside, he's going to tighten up against the wall and allow the leaders mercifully by without anyone dying. And
that's what you should do.
Wow.
It's what you should do. I mean, if you can't hold on and you're already a lap down, just move out of the way. It's simple, because I feel like if you're just going to battle with the leader, there's a potential you're going to wreck each other, and it's not going to end well. And so far, I mean, Brandon Honeycutt's leading, but Ira Kohlhaas is right there.
Andrew Teft about to come down pit road here on lap number 60, so he's obviously decided to go exactly halfway. The question becomes, does Brandon Honeycutt stay out until the fuel runs dry, or does he come in to get on that same pit cycle as Kohlhaas and Teft? As the 29 and the 98 are both in. Here goes Allen, whipping around the racetrack. Let's just see what might have happened here, because I think Allen's tires finally gave up. Here's Allen on exit out of 2. He rubs the wall and ricochets down right in front of the 10 of Kirby Wainscott. Wainscott and the 15 managed to squirt on by, and Allen decides to haul it down pit road wisely for the time being, as Brandon Honeycutt, still your race leader, leads this piece. Now Matt Metler is still showing who would be the lucky dog, as he's now in 6th position. Diego Rodriguez getting ready to come in. Alan Bergen on pit road. Kensley Smith coming down pit road now.
Question is, when will this 13 of Brandon Honeycutt pit, Dave? I mean, how much further do you think he could go? I don't think he could go that much longer.
I figured they should have somewhere between 65 and 72 laps. And whoa! There goes the 13 all over the racetrack. He just did nearly the same thing as Allen did. We're going to call that a Bergen move tonight. As Matt Metler has now climbed up into 5th position. And I'll tell you what, as far as smooth driving, Matt Metler is running a clinic on that right now. Metler is here just out logging laps. He's, allow those faster cars on by. Don't make yourself, a product of problem. As there are just 4 cars on the lead lap right now, as Brandon Honeycutt, and here
there he comes.
Honeycutt's going to come down pit road. Metler's going to stay out and get his lap back the old-fashioned way. And now comes the prayers. Oh, thank goodness Alan warned everybody he was coming off a pit road. He's like a landmine out there. As Metler going to get his lap back the old-fashioned way, now comes the prayer for a caution.
Well, question is, do we have a caution? I don't know, but there's the 13 getting ready to get his service done. And now Jason Bombs is out here front.
Jason Bottoms and Thomas Stanley, as well as Matt Metler, the only 4 drivers, Dakota Bly in the 48, also not having come down pit road yet. These drivers at this point have now kind of made their bed. They have to lay in it for now and see whether or not they catch a caution here before the fuel runs out of their cars. That's going to be the question. There's a lot of cold tires on the racetrack. Andrew Teft just laid down fast time. Jason Bottoms is going to come down pit road. Nearly misses the pit road entry as he hauls it in there. Thomas Stanley runs in 2nd now. He's going to cycle to the lead. Andrew Teft with a 24.36 here on lap number 68. As we are past halfway, Stanley's going to stay out. Metler's staying out, and Dakota Bly is currently staying out.
I like that FedEx scheme. I like the color there. That nice blue fading going on there, turning into purple.
Yeah, it's a sharp-looking car. Kind of a
Man,
matte
that's why I
finish
need
on
to
the
make
hood.
my vehicle. I need to make my vehicle that wrap.
Do love me some FedEx. As Stanley Metler and Bly have not come down pit road, and I'm dying to know, and I wish I could, I know that he'd kill me if I texted him right about now, but I gotta know how much fuel Metler has left.
I'm going to assume 10 more laps.
Now Stanley and Metler are praying for caution, looking maybe for rain in 1 and 2. Metler here running in second position right now. This is the highest that he's been after starting in 15th position. If a caution came out, he would cycle back to about 9th, but still nothing major.
I mean, he's probably going to stretch it out as far as he can go, Dave, if you think about it.
Well, that's just going to be the name of the game right now, as it's going to be Stanley, Metler, Kohlhaas, Zimmerman, Honeycutt, Robinson, Smith, and Teft, your top 8. And they are all on the lead lap here on 71. So 50 to go here from Rockingham as Stanley and Metler lead this piece right now. I got to tell you, if I'm Matt Metler, I'm staying right where I am here.
Yeah,
In the
I
nasty
agree.
beast number 311 Toyota Camry.
Sharp looking scheme right there.
And of course, on race radio, we hear the crisp, clear
There he
tones of
comes.
Matt Metler saying, "It's time to come in. I've had enough." He knew we were up here talking smack. Now the question is, does Metler get down on pit road and back off fast enough? Kenson Smith just ran a 24.18. Do these cars that just came down pit road have enough time to get back off of pit road without going down a lap? Nope, that's the answer. Nope. So Thomas Stanley, the last of the Mohicans up here, deciding he's going to stay out as long as humanly possible. Matt Metler cycles back to 11th position. Ira Kohlhaas running P2, so he will eventually cycle up to the lead as side-by-side. Whoa, 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 whoa. Easy there, big fella. As that was, oh, who is that? Something wrong. I don't know who that was. I just saw a car go into the wall coming off the backstretch. Can't find it. We stay green, though, here on lap number 76. And here comes the 62. So that will complete our green flag pit cycle here on lap number 76. I'm Dave Regal. He's Daniel Paulus. This is SRM. We'll be right back here, but don't go away. We're going to go NASCAR side-by-side for our break of the evening.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Rockingham Raceway. As I'll tell you what, right now, Ira Colehouse back in command here. Dave Regal and Daniel Paulus in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Lap 87 in the books already. 87 green flag laps have been laid down here at Rockingham, and that is impressive no matter who you are or what you're watching on the iRacing.com servers. It's going to be Colehouse, Honeycutt, Kensley Smith, Andrew Teft, Gregory Robinson, and Jason Bottoms. Your top 6, and they are all the cars on the lead lap right now as Thomas Stanley, Matt Mettler, Brandon Zimmerman, and Dakota Bly round out your top 10. And, you know, to have this many cars down laps already means that it's been an impressive night on the racetrack.
It sure has, but you know what that means? Talent. That's their talent.
Yeah, highly talented group here. As they have just ripped through this race, and you know, I call a lot of races during the week, and you know, usually 4 or 5 depending on the week, and this has got to be one of the most impressive performances that I've seen all week long so far.
Ira Colehouse out front by a 6-second lead over the Honeycutt.
By the way, in the YouTube.com live chat, that was Diego Rodriguez who went into the wall earlier on, and he is now in 19th position sitting on pit road. So he's going to wind up finishing shotgun on the field almost certainly, as he's now 10 laps behind the behind the 30 of Ira Colehouse.
91 laps completed in the books here. You really didn't see anybody spin themselves out here tonight, Dave.
No, not a whole lot of self spins, not a whole lot of Any real incidents per se. I mean, obviously Diego Rodriguez, as we had just mentioned, Alan Bergam was running a little loose and wild as well at one point, but everybody else has managed to keep the nose of these cars fairly clean as we take a ride along here with our race leader, Ira Kohlhaas, as he's right behind the 30 of Sam Kohlhaas, and he looks to put Sam down another lap here. So Sam Kohlhaas about to go down 8 laps once Ira makes his way around.
Sam Kohlhaas has struggled since the start of this season. I mean, he's been there at certain tracks. Tonight's not the night for him, it looks like, but he's doing an excellent job.
Looks like maybe I need to get my glasses checked, as it was actually Matt Mettler who was just ahead of Ira Kohlhaas. So Mettler getting ready to go down 2 laps. As he ran, we can't really discount that because he ran a pretty strong lap, against these drivers, the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt, the 15 of Kensley Smith earlier on as that had gotten later and later. So, here we go again. All of a sudden, Ira Kohlhaas having to battle it out now with the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt, who now he leads him by about 5 seconds. So you can almost throw a blanket over the top 3 as Kensley Smith trails Brandon Honeycutt by 0.8 of a second. That's honestly the closest distance between 2 cars for position on the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, and if we're looking at your leaderboard right now, look on the top left here of your pylon, focusing on the first 2 drivers here. You're seeing Honeycutt, Dave. He's closing in lap after lap here on the 29er Ira Kohlhaas. He's about 4.5 seconds back right now here on lap 97. So, I mean, if this 29 pits, Honeycutt's going to get the lead.
I don't think we're going to see the 29 pitting. I don't think we're going to see anybody pitting the rest of this race, with the exception of perhaps Gregory Robinson in the 9, as he came down last on lap 50. Dennis Kane held it out until lap 80 and 85 for Paul Shaw. So, Ira Kohlhaas came in right at the halfway mark at lap 60. So now, with 22 to go this time by, we're going to just have to watch Brandon Honeycutt start to close in here on Ira Kohlhaas.
Now closing the gap once again, 3.9 seconds back is the difference between the 29 and the 13. And let me tell you, before this race ends, I think the 13 and the 15 are going to get to the 29 here in no time, because now Kensley Smith, remember earlier on in this middle of this race, he lost the lead, blew that tire wear off, got into the wall, lost spots. Now he's back up here in the top 3, closing in inch by inch here on the 29. And if I was one of those 2 drivers, Dave, I would take my time, because 20 laps around here is a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a long time, in the real world. And I mean, this time by, it's going to be 20 to go as Kohlhaas comes out of turn number 4, crossing the start-finish line. He leads Honeycutt and Smith in the top 3. And Honeycutt all the way down to 3.5 seconds now. So, to your point, we're starting to watch those lap times evaporate as we're going to take another peek here at that lap time delta. And all green for Honeycutt means all bad for Kohlhaas.
Ira Kohlhaas going by to 65 of Brandon Zimmerman. Looking like he's going to get a top 10 here tonight so far. Done a really good job throughout the season. Been very strong no matter what track we have been at. And look at this. I know we didn't mention him at all today, Dave, but look at the 4 of Dennis Kane right now. He is literally inside the top 10, collecting another top 10. I mean, he's on a pretty good run here early this season.
Yeah, Dennis Kane is comfortably right now in the top 10 as Dakota Bly is running a consistently slower lap. All of a sudden, something seems to have happened here as Brendan Zimmerman just passed Matt Mettler for 8th. And Kirby Wayne Scott and Paul Shaw were just back here duking it out for P12 as we go back. We're going to watch Shaw and the 10 of Wayne Scott just start to exchange positions. There's Shaw getting around Wayne Scott. He's pushed along now by the 59 of Truth Hoke. And that was the final pass of that particular battle for 12th position. Ira Kohlhaas, your race leader here with 16 laps to go, followed by Brandon Honeycutt, Kensley Smith, and Andrew Teft, your top four. And Teft and Smith separated by 7.42 seconds. So no worries there, as Honeycutt has now closed in to within less than 3 seconds now of Honeycutt. And I got to be honest, as I'm watching this, only one lap over the last 5 that he was slower, and that was 102, and it was by 300th of a second. Now he was just 2/10 of a second faster on 105. And wow. Oh, whoa. Watch the 9. That's Gregory Robinson. Let's see what happened here. Oh, nearly took the leader out. We're going to run this back just a little bit, Daniel, because I'm curious to see what happened here. We're going to set this up just outside of turn 2 on exit. And here comes Gregory Robinson just ahead of the 59. He rubs the wall. The 59 tags him. And I'll tell you what, if he was a pitcher, he'd be out there as my closer, because he gets the save for that one.
That's a pretty good save, I must say. I don't think I could have saved that.
Nope, I would have been all over the racetrack. The yellow flag would have come out, and I'd be slamming my fist into the toe button, that's for sure. As once again, Honeycutt, 2/10 of a second, and then some, faster than Kohlhaas, as now he's closed into less than 2.5 seconds behind Kohlhaas. Ira Kohlhaas leads this piece now with 12 laps to go. Brandon Honeycutt in hot pursuit, starting to finally catch him. We're going to see a little bit of draft action. I know that's your favorite. As we get closer in here, we'll get right to the nose of Brandon Honeycutt, as we can start to see him trying to close in on Ira Kohlhaas just ahead.
Once again, now down to 2.3 seconds here with 10 laps to go here at the Rock. Who's going to get that win? Because I know everybody wants to win here at the Rock. It's no longer on the NASCAR circuit. Might be in the future, Dave, but as of right now, it is not on the circuit. So it's a very special win. It's kind of like a crown jewel event, if you think of it that way, to win here at the Rock.
Yeah, and there was some talk earlier in the week about some of the racetracks on the NASCAR circuit that are losing dates, because they're just quote-unquote not exciting races, so to speak.
I saw Richmond.
Richmond may be losing their fall date, which to me, look, NASCAR belongs in the Southeast. We need 2 dates for some of these places. To me, it's not fair that traditionally we've always run 2 races or 2 events at a specific track. I mean, we lost the second race at Pocono, the second race at Dover. Now, Richmond is in danger. It's just, to me, it's terrible. I mean, we lost both races at Texas Motor Speedway, for crying out loud.
Well, I hope the Rock is on the schedule in the coming future.
Look, if you're going to remove a race weekend from another racetrack, at least give it to something that's worthwhile. And I think Rockingham is one of those racetracks that they need to consider putting back into the schedule. As Ira Kohlhaas just blows the doors off of Kirby Wainscott, down laps so far, and now goes down 3 laps, as Ira Kohlhaas still leads us here with 7 laps to go.
Six laps remaining here. Now under 2 seconds. That 13. He is 1.8 seconds back, Dave. I mean, does he have enough time?
if he really pours it on right here, I think the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt can fight through. The problem is, I think 5 laps to go, he's right there on the edge where he would have to have a rocket underneath that car to get around some of the lap cars, especially the 59 here of Truth Hoke, who is already competitive. I mean, we know the Truth Hoke started on the front row, and here he is peeking around to try to... Whoa! Where did Truth Hoke just go? We're going to take a look at that. As Truth Hoke was coming into turn 3, he looked to the inside of Kohlhaas, checked up, locked that front right wheel up, and just slid into the wall.
I have no words for that. I really don't. As we are with 3 laps remaining here in North Carolina at Rockingham Speedway, with the 29 Ira Kohlhaas leading the way, the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt knowing he has 2 laps remaining here to catch that 29, and he is closing little by little. Does he have enough time? We're just gonna have to see, but I don't know. Well, all I know is that 29 is just waiting to get that white flag.
The popsicle sticks are in the air. We're 2 to go here as Ira Kohlhaas hauls it into turn number 3 once more here. No cautions tonight in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series as Kohlhaas crosses the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Ira Kohlhaas has shown what dominance looks like tonight here in the number 29 as he comes down the back chute one final time. 120 green, clean flag laps. As Kohlhaas rolls it out of turn 4, he can see the promised land in front of him. He crosses the finish line, and Ira Kohlhaas wins the Racers Elite Next Gen Series right here at Rockingham Race Speedway here in North Carolina. It's going to go Kohlhaas, Honeycutt, and Smith on the podium, followed by Andrew Teft and Jason Bottoms, your lead lap cars and your top 5 right here on Sim Racing Media. And I'll tell you what, Daniel, this has been an incredible race tonight as they did this in darn near record time.
I don't think I ever saw a race go by so fast, and we didn't have any cautions. We had no cautions. We had green flag runs, great racing. We saw some loose cars like we expected. But, I mean, they put on a great performance, and this is another one, but in a record time.
And finally, we get a chance to catch our breath and celebrate for a moment with Ira Kohlhaas, driver of the number 29 Chevrolet Camaro. Hey, Ira, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
What a run tonight, man. I mean, listen, dominance is an understatement for sure, as you just showed everybody in this league how to log laps at Rockingham.
Well, there's a little trick to old tracks. You can get on YouTube and watch the footwork of guys like Kyle Petty and Mark Martin and Earnhardt Sr. that dominated this place in the 80s and 90s. So I did a little bit of that over the week and just tried to emulate that. And I mean, you know, we're 40 years later and that footwork still works to this day.
Yeah, you know, it's always incredible. I think that's one of the neatest things about racing as a sport in and of itself, where some of those strategies still translate, you know, to today's vehicles and today's, you know, cars. You know, it's not like in basketball where they say, well, Michael Jordan is the best of all time, right? Of his time. Or LeBron James is the best of all time. No, of his time. Where you can still use the things like, as you're saying, Earnhardt Sr. and Kyle Petty, you know, are able to get around here at Rockingham so successfully.
Yeah, there was I had a couple of questions about entering turn 3. That was my main question about it. And I got on there and Felix Sabatas had one of the first foot cams, I guess. I think it was in 91 was the video. And Kyle didn't use any brakes going into 3. And I hardly used any brakes unless I was in hornet's nest in traffic, and that was a big tire saver using the bank and the stagger and stuff to turn the car.
Yeah, we happen to notice that as, you basically let those RPMs drop down to something nice and comfortable to rotate through there. We were wondering how you were making the car, roll through center so smoothly all night long. It was incredible to watch from up here in the booth.
Well, especially with the next-gen cars, I learned early on when iRacing had these things. I think it was the first week they were out a couple years ago at Chicagoland. These cars get wicked tight or wicked loose when it's not under load. So you're either going to be on the brakes or, putting power down, so it's pushing the car forward, and these things turn a lot better when they're under power.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, obviously you were able to master that, so a tip of the cap to you for that, sir, because that takes a lot of skill and a lot of patience and, of course, as we always see, a lot of practice. So, congrats to you, my friend. As we close it out here at Rockingham, who do you need to tip your cap to before we cut you loose?
Yeah, for sure. I got to thank my wife, Callie, and my two daughters, Clara and Lorena. I got to thank Lolly and Pop. They watch everything. And Aunt Catherine, shout out to her. I'm pretty sure she watches everything too. Got to thank my brother. He's hung in there, and he hasn't had the runs that he needs to have, but he'll get there. He's learning. And got to give a shout out to my buddy Oscar and the Compass Cocktail Bar, Randy and Jennifer Sellers at RJS Automotive. And we'll see if we can't get this streak going. I'll try to keep my mind on racing next week because we got turkey season next weekend.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on the win tonight at Rockingham. We will see you next week. Good luck the rest of the way, and we appreciate you tonight.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Ira, as we're going to get Ira back down here into the waiting room and get a hold of second place driver. Now, where did he go? He just slipped away from here. As we're looking for the driver of the number 13, Brandon Honeycutt. And Honeycutt seems to have left the Discord channel. So, Daniel, I believe right now you have Kensley Smith, driver the number 15.
Kensley Smith. How are you doing?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. We saw you leading a lot of laps early on. What happened there?
Burned my tires up on a lap car. So, yeah.
Yeah, so how was your car handling? I saw in turns 3 and 4 there's a lot of bumps, and I've seen a lot of drivers struggling with handling and getting loose in turns 3 and 4. How was it for you?
The exact same as everybody else. Super loose. Had to really feather the throttle to get over them, and then you could kind of get on the gas a little bit more. But just those bumps were really crazy. Even out of 1 and 2, if you exited a little bit too low, you were going straight to the inside. So.
Well, now that Rockingham's out of the way, I mean, what do you think of tonight's event? What do you think you could have done to win tonight's race?
Save my tires a little bit more. First run, just like I said, trying to get around a lap car. I burned my tires up a little bit too much, and that allowed Ira and Brandon to really close down on me, and I didn't have any fight for them. So once they caught me, I pretty much fought a little bit, but then I just let them go. I wasn't going to hold them up. They were a lot faster than me at that point. So.
Well, you made it back to the top 3, got a podium finish. I mean, I would take a top 3 from here. So do you have anybody you would like to thank?
Of course, you guys for putting on the broadcast for us, and Andrew for putting on the league. My team, Driving Extreme Inc., we finished 1, 2, 3 tonight, so that's really good, going towards team points. And then, of course, my wife and my daughter for being there and watching these races and cheering me on.
Well, congratulations on a podium finish here tonight. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Well, it looks like Honeycutt left the Discord. Not sure what caused that, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to get a chance to speak with him tonight, Daniel. So I say all that to say another one in the books here in the Racers Elite Cup Series, and as we had talked about just a moment ago, This has got to be one of the fastest races we've ever seen. It's only 8:15 here on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we started an hour ago. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, the race itself finished in just under 1 hour at 59 minutes, 14 seconds. That has to be some form of a record. I'm going to have to look it up for next week. And before we get out of here, of course, we do want to take a quick peek at our final results as Ira Kohlhaas brings home the checkered flag for Bohica Esports. He's followed on the podium by Brandon Honeycutt and Kensley Smith. Andrew Teft finishes in fourth while Jason Bottoms rounds out the top five. Thomas Stanley finishes in sixth, and Brandon Zimmerman comes home in seventh. Eighth position goes to Dennis Kane, while Matt Metler comes home in ninth, our teammate from right here at Sim Racing Media, as Dakota Bly rounds out your top 10. Paul Shaw comes home in 11th with Kirby Wainscott in 12th. 13th position goes to Alex Teft, while 14th goes to Truth Hoke. Alan Bergen, our other teammate from here at Sim Racing Media, finishes in 15th with Sam Kohlhaas, Gregory Robinson, Noah Tansman, and Diego Rodriguez rounding out the rest of the field tonight. As Diego had a rough night there in the number 20 Toyota Camry. But the story of the night goes to Ira Kohlhaas, who comes home with the checkered flag in his hand. So congratulations to him. And for everyone else here at Sim Racing Media, my partner Daniel Paulus Jr., I'm Dave Regal saying thanks for tuning in tonight and making us a part of your evening. And every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everyone. And we're clear because we're only ended the damn session. That's the fastest I think I've